Welcome back to Wired to Be Rich, everyone. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here for a while, welcome back. You already know that I appreciate every single last one of you. Like I always say, the messages, the shares, the conversations y'all have off of these episodes, I see them and I don't take it lightly at all. And I want to really settle in this for just one moment, because this isn't one of those episodes where I sit down and say, okay, let me teach you something or let me break something down. This one kind of found me. I was literally standing by my bedroom window and I noticed the trees. And I know it sounds crazy, guys. And at first I was like, okay, that's just casual, like nothing deep. But the more I just kind of like zoned out and watched, the more I realized I was actually seeing something that applies to everything. The way we move, the way we react, the way we handle life when things don't go how we expect it. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say it explains something in the simplest, clearest way that I've seen in a very long time. And you know those moments where you see something so simple, but it just clicks in a different way? Well, that was one of those. So today we're going to talk about foundation in a real, grounded way that you can actually feel and recognize in your own life. And more importantly, you're going to understand why some people seem steady no matter what's happening and why others feel like they're constantly being pulled in different directions. And it has everything to do with what you're rooted in. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode.
She's not just a podcast host. She's a movement.
Manda Lea is teaching people how to break cycles and build real wealth, mentally, financially, and spiritually.
People all over the world are waking up to her message.
Wired to Be Rich isn't just a podcast, it's a mindset shift.
She makes you believe again in yourself, in your power, and your ability to actually have the life you always known was meant for you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Manda Lea, entrepreneur, speaker, and founder of Balance and Destiny, and this is Wired to Be Rich. So I think one of the biggest things that we really don't sit with or notice is that life is always doing something, you guys. Something is always slightly off or slightly shifting or changing or evolving or manifesting, slightly not going exactly how we planned. I mean, the list goes on. A text doesn't come through when you expected it or in a timely manner. Plans change last minute. Someone's energy feels a little weird. You wake up not feeling how you expect it to feel. Something small throws off your rhythm, and it's never just one thing. It's always little things throughout the day. And the way we're used to moving is we treat every single one of those moments like it matters more than it actually does. We start checking in with it immediately. Okay, wait, what is this? Why does this feel off? You get to asking, do I need to fix this about myself? Did something change in this dynamic? And before we even realize it, we're already pulled deeply into it. Now your mood is shifting, right? Our energy shifts. And now we're thinking about it over and over again, overthinking it. Maybe trying to correct it. Maybe trying to, get back to how things felt in the beginning. And I'm using air quotes. So, yeah. And it happens so fast that it feels normal, y'all. Like we don't even realize that we're in this loop already. We don't even question that we're constantly reacting to something. We just move with whatever is happening in real time. But what I've been noticing lately is that life is still doing all of that. And it's not just taking me with it in the same way. Not anymore. The same little moments still happen, right? Something slightly off, something unexpected, something that normally would have had me thinking or adjusting. And now I just see it for what it is. I am no longer immediately attaching anything to it or myself to it. I don't feel the need to figure everything out right away. It's whatever. I no longer feel the need or the pull to shift my entire energy just because something around me shifted. And that's a completely different experience because I think a lot of us are so used to living and, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, y'all, but I think a lot of us are so used to living in reaction mode that we don't even realize how unstable it actually feels. Like we're never fully grounded. We're always slightly adjusting or reacting or being moved by whatever is happening around us. And I mean like let's say somebody cuts you off in traffic. I'm going to give you the easiest analogy in the book. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and instead of you taking a moment to observe and just be like, that person must be having a really shitty day, or that person must be in a rush, you take it personal and you get angry. Some of you may do road rage. Some of you may flip them off, whether they see it or not. You take it personal and you're already reacting instantly. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you're instantly reacting to something. You're instantly cussing them out in your head. You instantly get a feeling inside of your chest or your stomach where you're annoyed now. But why? That's just life happening around you, outside of your car. Has nothing to do with what you have going on in your own current little bubble, or your own four-door car, two-door car. That's just something happening in the environment. You observe it and you move on. You know what I'm saying? And over time, like I said, it's exhausting, even if we don't call it that. But when you start building a real foundation within yourself, something shifts. We stop feeling like we have to respond to every single thing. We stop feeling like every little moment deserves our attention. We stop letting small things turn into full energy shifts that carry us throughout the day. And instead of like feeling like something that's constantly pulling us in different directions, it just feels like things are happening and we're still right here. Not disconnected, not numb, not ignoring anything, just not being moved by everything anymore. And that's when it clicks. It was never about life calming down. It was about becoming steady enough within ourselves that when it doesn't, we don't go with it every single time. Now, what really made this click for me is how normal it is for us to be moved by small things throughout the day and not even question it. And it doesn't even feel dramatic. Like I told you, it's so subtle and it's so quick. It doesn't feel like we're losing control. It just feels like we're responding to life, right? But when you slow it down and actually look at it, it's happening way more than we think. Like in dating, for instance. I'm gonna give you an example. You can wake up feeling so good, grounded, focused on your life, determined, powerful, and then one small shift changes your whole internal state. Like if you wake up and the first thing you do is check a text message to see if someone responded, and you see that they didn't respond to you from yesterday, your mood has already instantly shifted and you have not even gotten out of bed yet or brushed your teeth. That's how serious it is, you guys. And okay, so let's see. Or another example is someone you like or doesn't respond how you expected, right? Maybe they did respond to you, or they responded dry, or they took a very long time. You might have texted them at 3 p.m. and it's 8 a.m. the next day and they haven't responded. Now, don't get me wrong. I also get triggered by that. But like I said, this is a work in progress. It's things I'm noticing, and we're going to work through this together, you guys. But if you notice, nothing has actually been confirmed. Nothing has been said, but now your mind is involved. You're checking your phone more, rereading the conversation, picking up on little things that didn't stand out before. And it's not even that you're trying to spiral, it just pulls you in. That's why I keep saying this is something we're going to work through together, you guys, because it's so normal. It's like it's human nature. We get pulled into stuff without even realizing it. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's literally how you work as a human being. It's your genetic makeup. It's biology. And now your energy is tied into something that realistically doesn't require that much from you in that moment. And it's the same thing with work. You could be having a smooth day, getting things done. You're in your rhythm, you're in your zone. And then one email comes through that feels off. And it's off enough to catch your attention. Now you're thinking about it more than you need to. Now you're pissed off. Now you're huffing and puffing your breath saying, my God, I hate this job. I need to find a new one. I mean, it's a whole spiral that you find yourself going into. I do that quite often. I know a lot of y'all probably do too. But again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Now you start questioning the tone of the email, the intent, the timing. You start getting like anxious, and maybe you carry that energy into your next task or into your next meeting. Again, nothing crazy happened, but your internal state shifted because of that one email. Even in everyday interactions, like with family or people you talk to regularly, it could be something so small, a comment that doesn't land right and not even that it didn't land right. You could already just be having a shitty day. And someone says something that normally you wouldn't have even gotten triggered by, but because your day is not as good as you want it to be, that comment pissed you off. It was a look maybe that person gave, a tone. Everything is about perspective, something that makes you pause for a second longer than normal, right? And now you're sitting with it. You might not even say anything about it in that moment, but it's there. You feel annoyed. You feel like, was that shade? Was that this? You start questioning things, subtly influencing how you feel, how you respond, your energy, and how you move for the rest of your day or the rest of your time with that person. And when you really look at it, it's not one big thing throwing us off, you guys. It's a collection of small moments that keep shifting us over and over again because we're choosing to respond to it. A text here, an email there, a conversation, a thought, a reaction. All about perspective, you guys. And by the end of the day, we've been moved so many times that we don't even remember what our original energy felt like. You're just tired at this point. That's the part most people don't clock because it's not obvious. It just feels like, well, that's life. And really it's not. It is, but it isn't. When your foundation starts getting stronger, who you are inside internally, those same situations don't carry the same weight. The text still comes in late, but it doesn't pull your attention the same way, right? The email still feels off, but you handle it and move on without letting it linger. Someone's tone is still their tone, but it doesn't sit in your mind for the next few hours. You really have to, like, you get to the part where you say, fuck it. Like, I had to get to that point to where it's like, not everything is about me. And, realizing that, not in a negative way, but you aren't as special or as important as you think you are takes a lot of weight off of your interactions with people because you really start realizing that a lot of the ways that you think and feel genuinely are stirring up inside of you because you're choosing to see things that way. So what if someone has a off tone? Why does that have to mean that it has anything to do with you? They could be having a crap day and you're just the first person they speak to. So, of course, their energy is a little bit off. Or you could have done something that you were fully unaware of that pissed that person off, but they're too afraid to speak on it. Who cares? You don't have to respond to it in a negative way. You don't have to release your energy and allow yourself to be unsettled because someone else chooses to do whatever they want to do with their own life. It's their own free will. You can choose how you want to respond to it or if you even want to. You can choose if you want to feel some kind of way about anything. You can choose to read an email with a certain perspective. You can choose to do what someone else eats does not make you shit. Do y'all get what I'm saying? So when your foundation gets stronger, those same situations don't carry the same weight. The text still comes in late. Like I said, the email still feels off. Someone's tone is still their tone. It is what it is. You start to notice things without attaching to them. You start to move through moments without absorbing all of them. You start to realize that everything deserves access. Not everything deserves access to your energy just because it showed up. And that changes how your entire day feels. And this is not something that you're going to just like listen to today and then boom, you're miraculously just unbothered, unfazed. Again, you guys, we got to go back to science. Human beings are genetically wired to feel. Our bodies are literally engineered to feel, respond, and react. Our brains have a whole other operating system built to protect us in certain ways. So you do not feel bad that you get ruffled by minute things. If you didn't, we'd have to talk about things a little bit deeper because something's off, right? Something's not working right. It's just noticing that you have the power to decide in those moments. And the more you practice that, the easier things will get and you'll stop being so anxiously attached or anxiously avoidant to situations in your life. But that's when it really hits you. A lot of what used to feel like life being overwhelmed wasn't about how much was happening. It was about how much of it we were letting move us. And this is where everything starts to separate in a real noticeable way, you guys, because once your foundation is actually solid, you don't just feel different, you move different. Your decisions alone start looking completely different. Before, Your decisions can or might have felt heavy without you even realizing why. You're going back and forth, weighing every single angle, thinking about how is this going to play out? How will this person react? What could it mean later? You're checking in with other people, looking for reassurance, sitting on things longer than you need to, not because you don't know, but because you don't fully trust what you already know. And you need outside confirmation again. And I'm going to keep saying this. If this is normal, you guys, nothing for you to feel bad about. Literally, we all do it. It's just about building that awareness to be able to detach from that more and more and more as you continue to grow. So even small decisions feel like they carry weight. You start saying, do I respond now or later? Or I may say or do I say something now or do I leave it alone? Or do I go out or not go? Do I keep entertaining this or just move on? And you end up sitting in that space longer than necessary because our clarity is being influenced by too many outside things. And some of you are like, well, what are friends for? What is family for? You're like, you do want to vent out your issues. And don't get me wrong, we all want that. But I think it's important for us to learn that when it's happening in the moment, we have to take a step back and not respond, not react, and not outsource unless we genuinely feel like this is something that we cannot make a safe decision with by ourselves. When your foundation is strong, those same decisions don't feel heavy though anymore. You don't drag them out. We don't overcomplicate them. We don't need 5 different perspectives before we move. You know what feels right for you and you trust that enough to act on it. I know like with me and my friends, like if I'm going through something, I'm quick to call my best friends. I'm quick to call my girls, quick, or my mom, quick. Because luckily for me, I have people around me that genuinely do want to see like the best for me and they genuinely will give me good advice. But even that, I have to learn to be able to make hard decisions by myself without someone else influencing it before. And that's just something again that we learn with time. It's nothing wrong with it, but it's like that's how you build up your own internal foundation stronger than what it ever has. Because like for me, for instance, like imagine if I moved across the world and I didn't know how to get to the nearest bus stop. I can't call my mom and say, "Hey mom, I'm in Thailand right now. Should I take a taxi or the bus?" Like it's too many options going on right now. I don't know what to do. She's going to say, "Well, I can't help you. I've never been to Thailand." You have to be able to build that foundation. I can't spiral because my Uber is late 5 minutes and call my mom to come and get me or give me a solution. I have to be able to stand in that and make my own decisions and find myself out of uncomfortable situations. And that's what I mean. It's not an issue venting to people, but it's more so like we have to build up our foundation. And the only way to do that is to lean on ourselves first before we lean on anyone else. Even in dating, like I said, this shows up immediately. You're not sitting there trying to decode every little thing that someone does because it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not trying to figure out their potential or wait for something to become quote unquote what you want it to be. You see it for what it is. You feel how it aligns or doesn't, and you move accordingly. There is no long, drawn out confusion phase. And at work, it's the same thing. You're not second guessing every move or overanalyzing how something might be perceived. You handle what needs to be handled, you communicate clearly, and you keep moving. You're not stuck in your head about it afterwards. And like for me, for instance, like I am slowly navigating myself off of the hamster wheel. When I tell you I used to be high anxious at work, where like I used to end my day stressed, you guys. And I'm not even joking with you. I'm talking about full-fledged stressed, crying. Okay. And now it's not that I don't care, but it's like I end my work day. I might have like a very long work day because I might be working on a specific project, and that's different, right? But most of my days, like I coast out when I want to coast out, and I don't overthink it. I don't think I do think sometimes like, oh, what if they notice that I'm not working as hard as I used to, or what if they notice that I'm not giving 100%, I'm only giving 90%. But it's like I have to stop myself from those thoughts and realize that I can only do what I can do, you know? And You're not carrying decisions longer than they need to be carried when your foundation is stronger. You're not creating confusion where there doesn't need to be any. You're just moving. And the confidence in that doesn't come from forcing yourself to be decisive. It comes from being rooted enough within yourself that you don't feel the need to hesitate on everything. Even in your personal life, you guys, you stop going back and forth with yourself. You're not constantly questioning your own standards, your own boundaries, or your own direction. You just decide and then you stand on it. Make a decision and make that decision the best decision you ever made. It's all about your perspective. Once you trust yourself, decisions don't feel like something you have to survive. They just feel like something you make and you make over and over again. And it's the best thing over and over again that you could have ever done for yourself. And this is where life starts to feel quieter, but in a really good way. Because when your foundation isn't solid yet, everything has access to you, whether you realize it or not. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, energetically. A random thought can pull you into a whole cycle. Someone's behavior can sit with you longer than it needs to. A situation that barely matters can take up way more space in your day than it deserves. And it's not because you're trying to give it that much attention. It just gets it automatically. Like, think about how easy it is for something small to follow you throughout the day, right? You have one weird interaction in the morning, and now you're still thinking about it in the afternoon. Or something doesn't go how you expected, and even though you moved on physically, mentally you're still revisiting it. It's like things don't just happen, they stay. And when everything has that level of access to you, it's hard to feel grounded because your energy is constantly being pulled in different directions. But when your foundation is stronger, that access changes. Not everything gets in anymore. Not everything gets your time, your thoughts, your attention, your energy just because it showed up. I swear to God, this is something that I am literally practicing, you guys. And every single day I make a small improvement. And it makes me so proud of myself. And I know for the ones that are listening and you're also making those improvements every single day, you feel the same way. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's nothing bad about acknowledging that there's always room to grow. There's always a room for improvement. Nobody is perfect. We're all living the same life. We all want the same things. We all want happiness. We all want love. We all want peace. We all want the same thing. The goal is the goal for every single last one of us, even your enemies. It's just some people react differently depending on their own internal state. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. It's not like you're sitting there trying to block things out or pretend you didn't notice what's happening. You still see everything clearly. You just don't absorb all of it. Like I said in dating, one more time, someone can do something that's not aligned. And instead of it turning into this whole internal conversation or emotional spiral, it's just information. We see it, we register it, and we move accordingly. It doesn't need to take up space beyond what it actually is. At work, again, something can be off, the message, a tone, a situation, and you handle it, but you don't carry it. It doesn't follow you into your next task, or it doesn't follow you until after 5 o'clock when you get off. It doesn't follow you into your relaxation time or your next conversation or your entire day, even with family or close friends or relationships. You start to recognize what actually requires your energy and what doesn't. You don't feel obligated to internalize everything just because it came from someone you know. And that's where the shift really shows, right? Because now, instead of feeling like life is constantly entering your space and moving you around, it feels like you're choosing what actually gets to stay. You're not overwhelmed, not because less is happening, but because less is getting through. And that's a completely different way to experience life, because when everything doesn't have automatic access to you, you stay more consistent, you stay more clear, you stay more in control of your own space without having to force it. And that's what a strong foundation really does. It doesn't stop things from showing up, but it decides what actually gets to matter. And this is where everything starts to feel different in a way that's hard to explain unless you've actually experienced it. And I'm hopeful that my listeners, you all that are like tapping in with me on this same exact journey I'm on, I hope that y'all understand what I'm finna say, because life doesn't necessarily change, but how it feels to move through it does. Before, even regular days could feel like a lot, right? Not because anything major or catastrophic happened, but because everything required a piece of you. Somebody or something required something from you, whether it's your attention, your thoughts, your energy. It was always being pulled somewhere. You're thinking about what just happened, what might happen next, what something meant, how something came across, what you should do about it. So even when nothing big is going on, it feels like you're carrying a lot still. And like your mind is always slightly occupied with something to do. You could be out. You could be working, driving, cooking, whatever. And there's always something in the background taking up space, something you're revisiting, something you're trying to make sense of, something you're low key still reacting to. And over time, that creates this feeling where life just feels heavier than it needs to be. Not overwhelming, just consistently full, like you can't catch a break. You're just tired. And when your foundation is strong, that background noise starts to quiet down. Not because you're forcing yourself to stop thinking, not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you're no longer holding on to everything that passes through your day. Things happen, you guys, and they don't linger the same way. A moment comes, you experience it, and then it's done. You're not replaying it later. You're not carrying it into the next part of your day or the next phase of your life. You're not building on it in your mind. So now, when you're doing something, you're actually just there. I always tell people, like, don't chase perfection. And I told myself this too. Nothing in life is about being perfect. It's just about being aware. And the more aware you become, the easier it becomes to manage yourself. When you're working, right? When you're out. When you're relaxing, you're actually relaxed. There isn't this constant overlap of energy from 10 different things pulling you at once. And that's what makes life feel lighter, not because there's less happening, but because you're not carrying everything that happens. You move through your day without stacking unnecessary weight on top of yourself, and that changes your entire experience. Because now life doesn't feel like something you have to constantly manage or keep up with. It just feels like something you're in fully, clearly, without all the extra noise. And that's when you realize nothing about life had to change for it to feel better. You just had to stop holding on to things that were never meant to stay with you in the first place. Preach. Hello, Manda. Speak it. That was a moment to myself. Stop holding on to things that were never meant to stay with you in the first place. I think human beings, we really do have that. We have that so bad, y'all, because again, humans are wired to attach ourselves to some kind of foundation. If you go back to prehistoric times, we've always ran in packs. We always leaned on each other. We've always attached ourselves to meanings and existence and all the things. And that's beautiful, right? But we have to learn to let go. It's nothing bad about it. And I'm learning for myself. I'm like, what if I made the wrong decision? What if I do things the wrong way? But what did I just say earlier? Every decision you make needs to be the best decision you ever made. Not because you get results confirming it was the best decision, but because you decided it so. Your life's not going to end because you decided to walk away from someone that kind of rubs you the wrong way. Your life's not going to end because you decided to quit a job without a backup. I'm not advising that. But I am just saying, your life's not going to end because you decided to cut a friend off and never look back, and you've known them since you were 2. You made a decision, and because you decided so, it's the best decision you've ever made. So if you've been feeling like life has been pulling you in different directions, like your energy is constantly shifting depending on what's happening, it might not be about changing everything around you. It might just be about strengthening your own internal foundation, like the trees. You look outside, the little small trees blow endlessly with the wind, but the trees that have the big trunks, they sit steady, firm, tall, strong. Because once your foundation is solid, the wind doesn't matter the same way anymore. The wind just happens, but it doesn't move you. It's just something passing through you, and then it's done. So if this resonated, you all, send it to someone who needs to hear it. One of my friends, my closest friends, told me she wanted my episodes to be longer. So girl, this one's longer, okay? It's 30 minutes. I hope this was good enough for you all this week. Drop comments, let me know, DM me or email me. I love always hearing from y'all, even if it's one person a week to 10 people a week. I never know. Some episodes hit so much harder, and I'm always so excited to hear and see which ones fully resonated with all of you. I love what I'm doing, and I love that you love that I'm doing it. Like I said, if this resonated, send it to someone who needs to hear it. And as always, you can reach me on Instagram at ForbesManda_ or email me at info@balancedestiny.com. And of course, I will link it in the show notes. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.